and share screen. Okay. Okay, so for today, we will be discussing on the Philippine criminal justice system and human rights. So when you say about Philippine criminal justice system, what are these different setups that involves our justice system that would tend to collide or be it in connection with the application of human rights or the respect towards human rights. So here we will discuss different agencies, different setups on how criminal justice system is being served to the public, and at the same time how it is in accordance with the human rights. Okay, again, we need to wait na chat. Sir, kusog kayo diri hangin ug ulan. Sig wala signal, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you kay ni ulan, no? It's okay. I'm very lenient when it comes to your internet provider because I know we are in the provincial setup. Okay lang. So I am very lenient when it comes to that. So please don't worry. Gina-post wala ko ang notes and ang lecture online through YouTube. So dito na lang mo muhabol kung namoy na miss, okay? So let's move on to definition of terms. So what is a criminal justice? So it encompasses a chain of events, activities, tasks, or functions that constitute the official response to perceived problems of law and order. And it includes the following: crime prevention, crime reduction, arrest and prosecution of suspects, hearing of criminal cases by the courts, sentencing, administration and enforcement of court orders, parole and other forms of license for prisoners, and work with offenders and ex-offenders in prison or in the community. In short, when you say criminal justice system, it includes from the time a complaint has been filed down to the service of sentence of the accused. So, muang kita tanan diha from the time nag-file ka complaint, the time na gihatagan siya chance to be heard by the court to present his evidence, down to promulgation of judgment, whether he is guilty, acquitted, or not, and then to his service of sentence. Service of sentence means the punishment he is going to serve for for having violated provision of the law or a crime. Again, chat. Thank you, kayo, sir. No problem. So, the Philippine criminal justice system is a system or process in the community by which crimes are investigated and the persons suspected thereof are taken into custody, prosecuted in court, and punished, and if found guilty, provisions being made for their correction and rehabilitation. So, like I said, it is a systematic process wherein it will guide you law enforcement agents on how to begin your complaint and how to follow these steps in order to achieve the justice you wish to achieve, down to the service of sentence of the accused and to including his correction and rehabilitation back to the society. Now, okay. So, introduction to the 5 pillars of the Philippine criminal justice system. We have 5 pillars of the criminal justice system. These pillars interwork with each other so that the criminal justice system will be upheld at all times. So, it is a system of courts, including the barangay justice system, the informal justice system implemented through practice, particularly by indigenous communities, and the quasi-judicial bodies empowered by law to perform adjudicatory functions. So the systems for law enforcement and prosecution which involve investigating, apprehending, and prosecuting those who could not be deterred from violating the law and the rules of society. The system of corrections and rehabilitation, or the means of rehabilitating offenders and returning them to the community as law-abiding citizens, and the community which collectively imposes limitations on individual behavior of citizens for the common good of civilized and democratic society that deters criminality and criminal behavior. So your criminal justice system is all-encompassing, meaning it covers all, down to the community level, up to the rehabilitation of the accused and integrating him back to society. You begin your criminal justice system by means of the barangay system. Mao na madunggan ninyo. Ala niagi na mo barangay unsa mediation, di ba? Kadungog na mo ana nag-unsa na mo dito, nagkahikay na mo dito sa barangay level because under the katarungan pambarangay law, all disputes should be settled first in the barangay level. But of course, there are certain exceptions to that. And for now, I think you are still too young to learn about it, but at least you now have an understanding that all disputes should first be mediated in the barangay level. Now, the Philippine criminal justice system can be defined as a system or process in the community by which crimes are investigated and the persons suspected thereof are taken into custody, prosecuted in court, and punished and if found guilty. Provisions are being made for their correction and rehabilitation. So when you say PCJS, process siya, step-by-step process. Unsaon na to? Pag file o complaint, pag-imbestigar sa iyahang kaso, pag-arrest sa iyaha, tapos pag-prosecute sa iyaha sa korte, meaning that's my job to prosecute him. Taga-usig, meaning move sa kaso, tig-ingon na ikaw, nasasakdal ka, ikaw dapat ay mapunish. And of course, if he is found guilty, he will serve his sentence. But of course, again, since we are a democratic society, we help those who need help. So by doing this, we help them by correcting their ways, and by correcting their ways, we help them to be reintegrated back into society, to become full-blown members of society. Now, these are your different types of crimes under the Philippine criminal justice system. You will learn this, I think, next year, sometime in January. This is this is book 2. So pag third year pa rin ninyo, third year first sem. Kay book 1 pa man mo karong January ata, the criminal law. So you have different crimes committed against the national security and law of nations, such as your treason, the fundamental laws of the state, public order, kaning mga alarms and scandal, public interest, public morals, public officers, mga bribery, malversation of funds, crimes against persons, murder, homicide, parricide, insecticide, joke. Wala insecticide ha. Form na siya as joke diri sa amuang opisina. Kaya na mo ginag-ingon na crime daw ng insecticide. My God, wala siya yung background sa criminal law. Anyway, you also have here your liberty and security, property, such as your robbery and theft, chastity, kaning mga acts of lasciviousness, kaning maghipo og soso, pipi, abduction of a minor. Then you have your civil status of persons, crimes against honor, quasi-judicial offenses, such as your reckless imprudence resulting to homicide or damage to property, and those that fall under special laws, such as your Republic Act 9165, which is the comprehensive law for drugs, Republic Act 9262, your Violence Against Women and Children Act, your Republic Acts 7610, or the Child Abuse Law, and many other special laws. Daghang balaod, no? So we learn that. So not only will you learn this during the course of being in college, but also we learn this when you become police officers. Morning, mas gwapo ang bakbakan sa police force. or in the real world. Kaya dito makita mo ang mga drama sa kinabuhi. So this is your picture, which involves the framework of the 5 pillars of the Philippine criminal justice system. So the pillars are the following. You have the law enforcement. Second, the prosecution. Third, the court or the judiciary. Fourth, the corrections. And lastly, the community. So each one will be discussed thoroughly in the following slides. See? Muli siya, imong law. These are just some of the, a few examples of your law enforcement agencies. So you have here there the PNP or the Philippine National Police, the NBI or the National Bureau of Investigation, PDEA or the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, Bureau of Immigration and Department of Finance, specifically the Bureau of Customs. So the law enforcement, the function of your law enforcement is it involves prevention of the commission of the crime and the protection of the life, liberty, and properties of citizens. So the national government plays the primary role in law enforcement, particularly the police force. So it is composed of 5 major law enforcement agencies as presented to you. So these are just some of your examples of law enforcement. So they provide prevention of crime and protection of public safety. That includes life, liberty, and property, of course. Then you have here the National Prosecution Service under prosecution. So this is where I am situated right now. So the prosecution is the one who conducts preliminary investigation of cases filed in the prosecutor's offices and prosecutes cases filed in the court against alleged offenders after probable cause has been established. So it is composed primarily of the NPS or the National Prosecution Service under the Department of Justice and the Office of the Ombudsman. Kasi difference sila, sir. Kaning National Prosecution Service, kami, mga prosecutors, we prosecute the normal individuals, kaning mga, the same with the public. Whereas the Office of the Ombudsman caters to public officers and public employees who committed crimes. So if you can see there, diba, there you see there a group of good-looking gentlemen and women. So that is your prosecutors in the Office of the Provincial Prosecutor, Davao Oriental. So there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of us spread across Davao Oriental, and I am the one who is assigned in District 1. Specifically, I am the prosecutor assigned to all municipal trial courts and municipal circuit trial courts. Any questions so far? Wala,
sir.
Wala.
Sir.
Okay, so your third pillar is the judiciary or the courts. So the function of the judiciary is it is vested with judicial power. So it adjudicates cases and renders judgment. When you say adjudicate, it will take into consideration all pieces of evidence and will determine which party is the winning party or which one is the losing party, or which party should be convicted or which party is acquitted. And then you render judgment. Now, the Philippine judiciary is a 4-tiered court system consisting, of course, of the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court. The picture before you is these are pictures of your Supreme Court. So you have there the logo of the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court, the facade of the Supreme Court, katong iyang atubangan, and the inside of your Supreme Court. I've been there when I passed the bar. I was able to go there and take my oath before the justices of the Supreme Court, because mo man na ang celebration na mo take oath ka dito, tapos mo sign ka sa rolyo na ikaw abogado, and kana. Actually, it may look big outside, but actually it has tanggo tas sulod. Yeah. Tapo kaya siya. Tapo kaya mga tao dito. Yeah. Kaya, very regal ang courtroom sa mga justices of the Supreme Court. So your next court is the Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, and Court of Tax Appeals. Court of Appeals, mao ni siya ang second to the last court nimo. Diya ka mong apilar gikan sa Municipal Trial Court to Regional Trial Court to Court of Appeals. Sandigan Bayan, mao ni siya ang korte sa mga public officers who are who have gone AWOL, not AWOL, kanang mga public officers who are into malversation of public funds, kaning mga nangawat sa kaban ng bayan, diyan na sila sa Sandigan Bayan. Court of Tax Appeals, this involves violations pertaining to your taxes, nag-elevate nimo to the Court of Tax Appeals. Then your second level courts involve the Regional Trial Court. So here in Davao Oriental, ang pinaka-dole sa inyo na Regional Trial Court is the Regional Trial Court Branch 7 of Baganga. And then the first level courts comprises of the following: Metropolitan Trial Courts, Municipal Trial Courts in cities, Municipal Trial Courts, and Municipal Circuit Trial Courts. Ang pinaka-dole sa inyo diha na korte is the Municipal Circuit Trial Court of Boston and Catil. It's found near the office of the mayor, kanang former building diya na unsa na ginagamit sa SB. Mao na ang current Municipal Circuit Trial Court sa Boston and Catil. Then you also have another one here in Baganga, or the Municipal Trial Court of Baganga. Then another Municipal Circuit Trial Court of Caraga, Manay, Tarragona, located in Manay. So kanang tanang Municipal Circuit Trial Courts and Municipal Trial Courts, ako ang nag-handle as the prosecutor. Correction. So correction means trying to rehabilitate the inmate, trying to reform him and make him integratable to society. So gina-prepare siya sa jail daan, palangdaan, para ma-reintegrate siya back to society. So correction of inmates' welfare and development, rehabilitation, jail, prison management, and integration. So composed of two major equally significant components, the institution-based and the community-based corrections. Ang institution-based is composed of prisons and jails administered by the BUCOR, or the Bureau of Corrections. Napaisa, BJMP, or the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and the local governments with regard to provincial and sub-provincial jails. And you also have their community-based corrections pertain to probation and parole. So you have there the Bureau of Pardons and Parole, and the Parole and Probation Administration. So luckily for you, this will be some of the areas wherein you will be able to enter. Hopefully, when you become future criminologists, I believe your area would be in the BJMP, or the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. So hopefully, some of you will join the BJMP. And lastly, you have the community. The function of the community pillar is to impose limitations in individual behavior of citizens that would help you deter criminality and criminal behavior for the common good of civilized and democratic society. Alangan, the purpose of the community is to be a lookout for bad elements. So, very, very helpful ang community to the other 5 pillars. Kaya sila ang observe, tanaw kung naabay criminality around the area. And they are usually the first ones to report it to the law enforcement agencies. As well as, pag let's say, nakagawas na ang preso, he is free. So the community will open him, will welcome him back with open arms. So in order for him to be welcomed back to the community, there has to be an integration for him back to society. So in a manner, tabangan mo sa certain groups of NGOs to be able for you to be reintegrated back to society. Mauna ang reason na kung nakatanaw mo sa mga penology ng mga areas, pinatudluan sila how to create a bag using this material, or they are trying to teach you livelihood programs. Mauna ang part sa rehabilitation nimo kay para pagbalik nimo to society, maglisod magyud kang pangitag trabaho because of your record. So at least nakabaon na ka og knowledge and technical skill that can help you start up your own business. The composition of your community involves NGOs or non-government organizations, civil society organizations, the CHR, the Commission on Human Rights, DSWD, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, the well-known ayuda na department that is also prone to abuse, kaning DSWD, especially during the time of pandemic. Grabe ang ilahang kurakot. Anyway, schools and church and religious groups. So that is your community pillar. So, makitanin mo dire ang interrelationship sa 5 ka pillars. So, you have there a person who has violated the law is apprehended by the law enforcement pillar. Apprehended through arrest, through warrantless arrest, or through a warrant, any enforcement agency. Then, they are passed on prosecution pillar to us, because we will be the ones who will handle the prosecution of these individuals, especially if it involves offenses under the revised penal code and special laws. Then the accused will be tried before the courts or the judiciary, because it is part of due process it is the right of the accused to be heard, and it is part of due process na madungga ng iyahang side in order for him to prepare his defense, his pieces of evidence, and other matters such as confronting the witnesses against him. And lastly, if this accused is found to be convicted of such crime, then he will be passed on to the corrections pillar. So if convicted, he serve his sentence in jail or in prison, or placed on probation. So that's how the interrelationship of these 5 pillars are. Muna gitawag na sila 5 pillars of the criminal justice system. Now, you have here your formal legal protection system. So this is just an overview of the criminal procedure in the Philippines. So as mentioned earlier, the criminal justice system is the mechanism that society uses to maintain social control or enforce the standards of conduct necessary to protect individuals and the community. So it operates through its pillars. So that's how how society is being controlled or being monitored by these 5 pillars. So your PCJS adopts and prescribes the criminal procedure rules and regulations. Now, this criminal procedure is too early for you, but I will just give a brief overview on what criminal procedure is, because you are going to tackle this when you become 4th-year students. As a matter of fact, kaya ko ginatudlo sa 4th-year students karon. So, what's the criminal procedure? So, criminal procedure is one which provides or regulates the steps by which one who commits a crime is to be punished. In short, muni ang proseso o ang step o guidelines kung saan paglitis sa isa ka tao na nakakommit og crime. Also, according to Bustos versus Lucero, criminal procedure grants the offended party the right to commence a criminal action or file a complaint against the offender and to intervene in the criminal prosecution against him, and grants the defendant the right to bail, to a preliminary investigation, including his rights to reset investigation and the rights at the trial. Again, criminal procedure is all-encompassing. It provides rights for the complainant, and it also provides rights for the accused. So it says here how a criminal complaint is being commenced or started. So here the complainant will file his criminal action and the defendant will have to answer that criminal complaint. He may opt to exercise his right to bail or kanamupiansa ka, or his right to a preliminary investigation, meaning he undergo o very crucial and very extensive investigation para matanaw ba yun kung guilty ba, is he probably guilty, is he probably the one who committed the crime, or should he be tried in court. So mo na ang purpose ng preliminary investigation, and other rights during trial, such as the right of the accused to have his own lawyer, the right of the accused to be informed of the nature and cause of accusation against him, because these are all parts of due process. Now, the rules of procedure should be viewed as mere tools designated to facilitate the attainment of justice. So, mga ang main goals ng criminal procedure, to attain justice sa mga tao who would like to seek justice. So, mga ang inyuhang sample layout of the entire criminal procedure. So, magbigin with police investigation. Mga very important siya because police officers, kamo yun ang mag-case build-up. As a matter of fact, I taught the fourth-year students during the summer and up to, let's say, July or August, how to do case build-up, how to accumulate pieces of evidence so that pag-pass ninyo o complaint sa prosecutor's office, fully furnished siya and complete with what is necessary. O na sila yung background on police investigation. As a matter of fact, kasabaan na ko ang isa ka grupo because very lousy ilahang gibuhat. But anyway, they were able to, ang ganahan ako aning fourth year kay makasaba ko, manikamon po doon sila na to make up for their mistakes, and for me that is already a big leap ba, basta kanang learning how to correct your mistakes, okay na siya. Then after your police investigation, you have there the preliminary investigation or the inquest. Preliminary investigation mo ni siya ang ginabuhat na mo prosecutors o kaning inquest proceedings po. I will detail on kung saan sila. Then we issue our resolution or our decision whether or not this acusado or respondent should be held for trial. And we are also the ones who will be filing the information in court. Meaning, kung sa tong crime na iyang i-commit. Arrest of the accused and posting bail. Piyansa ang bail ha. Arraignment or the reading of the charges against him pre-trial. Kaning na may chance na magkahikay ang parties, na may chance na plea bargain ang akusado, etc. Trial, muling bakbakan na yun. And lastly, promulgation of judgment, whether or not convicted siya, acquitted, or innocent. Naipagutan na. Hello?
Answer.
Nan? Sure, ha? Okay, so police investigation muna yung first sa imuhang lineup. So, it is done upon the filing of the complaint in the police station. Usually, di man mo doon sa inyo ang citizens. Waingon na sila, sir, gidunggab ko, or sir, ganiha kay, when I went to the Katiil Municipal Police Station, naka-encounter ko vowsy, slight physical injuries, estafa, so pa to? Child abuse, 7610. So, di naman ginawang sugod sa inyo ha. So, you need to do case build-up and investigation. So, investigation is undertaken through surveillance, interview of persons with knowledge of facts, kamo gina nagabuhat ang interview connected with the offense, entrapment operations, search and seizure, arrest, interrogation of suspects in police custody, and gathering of evidence on the case. Like I said, gitrained ako ang fourth year on how to gather evidence on that case. The police report is prepared and the case is filed with our office, with the prosecutor's office, within the geographical jurisdiction. Now, when you do your police investigation, you have to remember the following set of rules. The rules on arrest and warrantless arrests, the use of body-worn cameras, and the rules on custodial investigation. Na-discuss na ko rin siya sa inyo ha. Katong rules of arrest, na as a general rule, before ka i-arrest, dapat naagyo yung warrant of arrest. If not, dapat mag-fall siya under exceptions, which are the warrantless arrest. Dapat, kung mag-search ka sa isa area, dapat na kay search warrant as a general rule, and na po exceptions sa ato ang search warrant, which are the warrantless searches. Tapos, due to rising human rights violations committed by the police force, muna nag-release ang Supreme Court of rules on the use of body-worn cameras kay para when officers deal with warrantless arrests, deal with search warrants, deal with warrants of arrests, ma-record nila kung usa gyud itong naitabo, kung tinuod ba gyud na naglaban ang akusado, tinuod ba gyud na hostile ang akusado, or is it the other way around? Ang police na ang hostile and not the respondents. So muna na natin body-worn cameras soon. And lastly, the rules on custodial investigation or RA 7438, di ba? I told you about the Miranda rights na dapat you have to inform when you arrest an individual, you have to inform him of his right to remain silent, that anything he would say would be used against him, and that he has the right to afford a lawyer, and if he cannot afford one, he would be given one. As a matter of fact, di ba, gidiscuss na ako na dapat masabtan sa inyuhang gidetain ang Miranda rights, pati ba siya kasabot. So, di ba, anak ko na, ikamayo na lang mayo yung Miranda rights para makasabot yung kamayo napo. So, that is your police investigation. Tayo bagotana. Ay, kabugnaw sa aircon. Wait. Ay, okay. Sige. Naibang utana? Wala. Ha? Wala. Klaro?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Yes. Juvie Balakit.
What, sir? What?
Oh. Just curious, how are you related to Rico Balakit?
Cousin, sir.
Okay. Okay, preliminary investigation or PI. So I placed my picture there just to remind you that preliminary investigations are done by prosecutors. Kaya para mo tatak sa inyo hang una-una na pag preliminary investigation, ginabuhat din sa mga piskal. So, ang mo ang maestro piskal. So, para namoy connection, para ma-remember nyo paspas. So, PI is an inquiry or proceeding to determine whether there is sufficient ground to engender a well-founded belief that a crime has been committed and that the respondent is probably guilty thereof and should be held for trial. So, very vital ang amuang job when it pertains to preliminary investigations because naasa mo ang burden whether or not to put an individual on trial. Actually, lisod na siya ng trabaho ba? Kay it will involve your conscience. Tama ba niya kung gibuhat? After weighing the complaint, after weighing the pieces of evidence, should I hold this accused to be probably guilty and should he be detained and be held for trial? Kana muna lisod kayo ang trabaho sa piskal because daghan kayo, magdagan sa imong huna-huna. Tama ba niya kung gibuhat? Have I been careful in examining the pieces of evidence? Am I being careful in interviewing the witnesses? Am I helping in achieving the truth? Am I helping the complainant in achieving justice? Ano ba? So, lisod na trabaho sa piskal kay you have to personally determine whether or not this individual should be held for trial. So you have to remember that in PI or preliminary investigation, it is executive in character, meaning it is done under the powers of the executive department because we prosecutors are under the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice is the prosecuting hand of the executive department. So your PI is conducted by the prosecutor, kami ang nagabuhat ani. So we determine probable cause of whether or not a crime has been committed and that the accused is probably guilty thereof and should be held for trial. So muna ang preliminary investigation. Now, unsa ang inquest proceeding? Inquest proceeding is conducted when a person is lawfully arrested without a warrant. In short, ang preliminary investigation mo ni ang normal na investigation nato. Kanang wala pang gidakop ang akusado, kanang nag-file lang mo complaint laban sa iyaha. But in inquest proceedings, mo ni ang mga gipangdakop without a warrant because they were caught in flagrante delicto or due to hot pursuit. So muna gidala na sila sa opisina namo para maimbestigahan kung guilty ba gyud sila and kung dapat ba ni sila managot sa ilahang gibuhat. So, conducted by a prosecutor in criminal cases where a person has been lawfully arrested and detained without a warrant of arrest. Example of this is your buy-bust operation. For example, katong gahapon, katong execution of a search warrant, gi-inquest sila diri sa kuha kay they were found out to have possessed a hand grenade or any other explosive. So hadlok kayo kay you do not know kung unsa ang plano aning mga tawhanan ni pamuthon ba nila ang Boston, Katil, or ang Baganga. So your inquest proceedings is an informal and summary proceeding, and its purpose is to determine whether or not the person detained should remain under custody and then charged in court. Any questions so far?
None, sir.
Done, okay.
Ay,
Okay,
sir,
finish.
excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, sa oras mag-end na ito klase, sir.
Ha?
Sa oras mag-end ang klase. Kaya namang may klase, sir, sa kuan sa foreign language.
Okay, sige. If
5:30.
we can end now if you want para makaprepare mo. Is that okay with you? Hello?
Sir, depende kan mo sa oras mag-end yung kan mo discussion, sir.
And we can continue next time. We can continue on Tuesday. Kung ay murag 5:30 lang po, it's already 5:20. Na may klase after 5:30?
5:30 pan po mag-start sira ang kuan foreign language.
Okay. Sige. Okay, so I think we should stop here. Murag taas-taas pa rin siya. Okay lang sa inyo,
Ikaw na
ha?
bahala, sir. Ikaw na, sir, bahala.
Okay. So, let's end here kay basig na overflow na mo knowledge on ProfCon and HR. So let's stop here for you to have your break before sa next lesson ninyo. Ha? And 10 minutes is just too short from 5:30. Basi kasaban mo sa next
Thank you, sir.
professor ninyo. Okay?
Thank you.
Sige, sige.
Thank you, sir.
All right. See you on Tuesday.
Okay po.
Sir.
Okay.